Hey, what's going on everybody? Matt from MCmoto here. Today, we're going to figure out what's going on underneath this rear fender on my 2006 Victory Vegas. Let's get into it. So the other day I had my buddy Will over here. We were doing some work on a Suzuki V-Strom 650. And I happened to glance back at my Victory Vegas, shining in the sun, admiring its beauty, seeing the blue paint sparkling, the stance it had, just really enjoying it. But this caught my eye. I got this little wire hanging down from my rear fender. And from what I've seen on the Victory forums and Victory Facebook groups, it's pretty common. So basically this wire right here broke off the mounting underneath the fender and rubbed against the rear wheel. And if you see right here, a lot of the insulation has come off this wire, exposing the copper wire underneath it. Thankfully, I caught it pretty early. I checked all my lights, my rear tail light works, all my turn signals work, so it's not a huge problem. But I need to take off the rear fender to see exactly how extensive the damage is, and then start repairing these wires. To do that, I'm gonna have to remove my seat, the side covers, passenger seat, these fender struts, a couple bolts here and there, and then the fender should pop right off. Oh, there's also an electrical connection underneath the seat that I'm gonna have to disconnect, and a debris flap that I guess keeps junk out of this trunk. So I'm gonna try to get this done pretty quickly. It's gonna be about 100 degrees down here in the south, and it's currently 6:52 in the morning. So I'm trying to beat the heat and do this smart. Let's dive into it. Getting the seat off is pretty easy. This side panel pops right off. I'm gonna set this somewhere safe so it doesn't get scratched up. Oh, that always happens. Let me head on over to the other side, get the other one. Excuse me, buddy. This side's a little tricky because it's right above the battery, and I don't want to create any sparks. Got it. Seat should pop right off. Perfect. What does this wire go to? Guess we're gonna find out. Get these fender struts off. Right, that wasn't too bad. All right, I gotta get a smaller Allen for these passenger bolts. Then it looks like I just have to take these two off, disconnect the electrical harness right here, and this fender should come right off. I think this will be a number 4. Yep. Dropping bolts left and right today. Passenger seat comes off, easy peasy. While I've got this off, I'm gonna clean off this fender because a lot of dirt and debris likes to get trapped underneath that passenger seat. Give that a nice quick wipe down, and be good to go. All right, next I gotta take this debris flap off. That's this right here. Looks like one of the keepers in it is already gone. I don't know what those things are called, but that's okay. We're learning as we go, right? Ooh, those have seen better days. Looks like this is the rear taillight harness. It should pop right off. Yep, pops right off. So when I take the fender out, this should just travel right through here with it. We shall see. I'm gonna disconnect the negative from the battery because there's a ground cable going to it that's traveling back there. I don't really even know what that's for, so we're gonna figure it out. The fun of exploring your own bike. It might not go to anything. I don't know. Get out of there, come on. All right, that'd be awesome if this is the wire that's frayed and it's not to anything. Oh, that'd be awesome. There was previously a speaker system on this bike that had some kind of negative going somewhere on it, and I just cut the wires out, so we'll see. Maybe this is a nothing wire, that this will be an easier fix than I thought. Well, let's get the rear fender off. To do that, I'm gonna have to get these 4 bolts out. Come on over here. I got this bolt right here and this bolt right here on both sides, and then this fender should slide right off, in theory. Do things ever go as they should? Sometimes. For me, not usually. Let's head on over to the toolbox. All right, go with my Pittsburgh ratchet. Shout out to my dude, Brandon Picasso. Always working with the Pittsburgh ratchet. Figure I'll do the same today. All right, let's get these bolts out. That's one. This whole project is going suspiciously too easy so far. So either I'm lucky, or I've actually learned some things over the last year, or I'm coming up on a disaster. Guess we'll find out. We'll find out together. Let me grab something soft to lay this fender down on. I think I got a yoga mat or something over here I can use. There it is. I stole one of my wife's old yoga mats for whenever I took my gas tank off, because this paint is too pretty. I don't want to get it scratched and scuffed up. This will work perfect for the fender. All right, let's see if we can get this thing off. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can see this. Let's move the camera over. The electrical going on under this fender is all torn up. So it's good that I found it early, because this needs to be fixed. Yeah, I gotta get this all cleaned up. Oh, geez. Another zip tie. Let me go grab some snippers. Oh no. Something cut me. I don't even know what. Let me go clean that up. All right, now I gotta work this electrical connection out of the frame. And man, that is tight in there. Will you squeeze out? Yes, got it. Shocked that that worked. All right, the fender is off. Let's get it over here so we can check it out. Look at this rat's nest. Let's see what the damage is. Oh man. All right, so this is supposed to go under the fender like this. This is the wire that I saw that was dangling down. What are you going to? Goes to the rear tail light. Turn signals are all good. We have a broken cable here. bunch of broken wiring here. Not broken, the insulation is coming off of it. So this black cable, this black and white cable, is not connected to anything. It used to be connected here. So the black and white is in the electrical harness, goes here, is broken to here. This goes through and is broken to here and should be connected down in here. To where though? Again, all my lights are working, so I don't know if I necessarily want to start messing with this too much. I do want to repair the broken insulation, but I do not want to start reconnecting things when everything's working. Alright, some of the best advice I could ever give you when you own a motorcycle is to find a copy of your service manual. This should tell me all about this rear lighting harness and what each wire does. So I'm going to dive into this and see what I can find out. Electrical, lighting and instrumentation, chapter 19, all the way at the end. So for the LED stop and tail lights, that is what the black and white ground wire is for. But again, as it is, everything is working. My tail light works fine. When I press the brake, it gets brighter. Both of the rear turn signals work. So again, I don't think I want to mess with that broken wire that's under there because it's been broken and everything's working. What I do want to do is repair the insulation on the wires where it's rubbed off to protect the wires from corrosion and from shorting out. And then when that liner comes in, I want to tuck all of that underneath the liner so this never falls down again. This is going to be an interesting fix. But for the longevity of this bike, it's needed. And I think I was very lucky that I found this so early. Alright, so here is what I found. First and foremost, the protective wiring cover is pretty torn up. So I'm going to replace that. I think they sell that at like Home Depot, so that's going to be an easy one to fix. Trash. There was a broken wire in here. And looking at the wiring, like the wiring diagram in the service manual, this was the original ground wire for the tail light, for the LED tail light on this bike. So then I was wondering, well, what's this black cable that this is actually what tipped me off to there being a problem. And what this is, and what I think happened is I think the previous owner ran this from the tail light to the battery as the ground when the original ground wire broke. Maybe his tail light went out and he took it somewhere and they just ran this as a bypass, which is totally fine. That's probably what I would have done too. Man, my camera is not wanting to focus today. So if you see here, the wiring itself is in pretty good shape. Nothing too crazy. I'm just going to wrap some electrical tape around it, put some heat shrink over it, and that should be good as new. I'm also going to get some more of this protective wire cover and clean up this whole length of wiring harness. A nice big old truck just drove by. I'm also going to get some more of this protective wiring covering from a local store and clean up the whole wiring harness. And then once that liner comes in, the liner is going to sit from like here all the way to here, and it should keep all of the stuff tucked in pretty good. Once I get that liner in, I'll have this bike back on the road. For now, I'm just going to work on cleaning up this wiring. Alright, so the electrical tape I'm going to be using is this stuff. It's Scotch Super 33 Plus. This is some of the best professional grade electrical tape you can use. I wouldn't use this on everything, but on something like this where I need a solid electrical connection going to my battery, this is the stuff to use. Once I've got that on, I'm going to slip some of this heat shrink tubing over the tape just to give it some more durable protection. Put a new battery connection on the end of this wire, and this ground should be good as new. Let's start wrapping. Try to keep this taut the whole way so that it doesn't bunch up, which will make the heat shrink a lot cleaner. And you don't use as much tape. Like I said, this stuff isn't the cheapest, so I only want to use as much as I absolutely need to. That way I can use it on other projects when other wires break. because that is how things go in the MCmoto garage. Stuff breaks. I did a video not too long ago talking about buying old motorcycles, and this is one of those things. The rubber and the plastic components on old bikes, when they're, you know, coming up on almost 20 years old, it starts to break down, starts to get brittle, starts to break. That looks much nicer. I don't see any copper sticking out. Let me check the rest of the wiring, make sure it's all good. Yep, looks good to me. I'm going to slide this section of heat shrink down over it and get it sealed up. Perfect fit. Let me go get the heat gun. This is my favorite part. I love doing heat shrink. Got the heat gun. Time to shrink this up. That is a great looking fix, if you ask me. Make sure it's all taut. We've got a little space right here. There we go. Nice and tight, 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 tight. All right, just got back from the store. I got some wire conduit, some ring terminals for the ground wire. And check this out, it's pretty cool. They had blue wire conduit, so it'll match my bike. Even though it won't be seen, I'll know it matches. And that's all that matters. All right, it's getting pretty hot outside, so I'm gonna move this Fender inside to the living room. Don't tell my wife. All right, much better. Air conditioning is crucial when you live in the South. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is gonna attach this ring terminal to the end of that ground wire that was all torn up. I've already cleaned up all the areas of insulation, so that part's good. Heat shrunk them. But now I need a new end to connect to the negative on the battery. So let's get this on here. Got my crimper, got a nice solid connection there with the copper to metal, and crimp. Now that is nicely attached. That ain't going nowhere. Famous last words, right? Next I'm gonna measure out this conduit, figure out how much length I need, and then I'm gonna wrap it around the wire harness. Pretty simple. Give me 10 feet of this stuff. I don't think I need that much. We go from here. It's about there. I say that'll be good. I'll cut off a little bit more than I need and trim it up at the end. What's cool about this stuff is it comes split, so you don't have to disconnect anything to install it. You can just peel it back a little bit and wrap it around your wiring. I'm gonna leave the ground wire separate because that's how it was earlier. Oh no, I just found more area of ground wire that is shredded off. Damn it. All right, well, let me go get the electrical tape. I won't be able to heat shrink this, but I can at least put some tape over it. That should be good enough. All right, let me get this buttoned up real quick. I guess in different light, you can see more things, right? That should be enough. Just a little slice. Wish I would have seen this earlier so I could have put another sleeve of heat shrink over it, but this section's not as bad as what I fixed earlier, so the electrical tape should be just fine. Good as repaired. Not new, but good as repaired. Set that to the side. Let's start working this conduit over this wiring harness. I'll fast forward through this so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. Oh, I just found another little piece of exposed wire. Let me get that cleaned up real quick. I'm actually happy I'm finding all these because each one I tape is one I do not have to worry about in the future. Because because they will be protected. Remember earlier when I said this was going to be easy? It's kind of a pain in the ass. But anything worth doing is worth doing right. All right, and just like that, I've got all the wiring protected in this conduit. I'm going to seal the ends of it with some electrical tape just to keep it in place and keep it together. If I ever need to revisit this, which I shouldn't, it'll be easy to take off. Do it in a few spots. I don't want this to fall out. It's always good to future-proof your work. And last one down here at the very end. Looks good. All right, here's what I got finished up. I got the conduit on, secured every couple inches, all the way to the connector for under the seats. Got the ground wire to the tail light, zip tied to this so it doesn't move and fall. And this is going to go under that liner once it comes in, and this will go right to the negative on the battery. I got all this stuff tucked away, put some fresh zip ties on here. And I think that's it for this this Fender. Not too bad at all. Next step will be putting this back on the bike once we get the liner in, and I can tuck all this right underneath here in this little groove. That'll keep it from ever falling down and hitting the wheel again. And I got plenty of space left on both of these wires to get to where they need to go. That's going to be it for this one, folks. I'm still waiting for that fender liner to come in. It was supposed to be delivered yesterday, but it's not here yet. So my day is ruined and my disappointment is immeasurable. If you stuck around for this whole video, I'm very proud of you. See you in the next one.